Hello and welcome, or welcome back. Today, I don't remember what part this is, doesn't matter. Today we're going to talk about mate offsets. And what I'm talking about is, up until now, I've been talking a lot about editing mate connectors, explicit mate connectors. And like I have here, so this one is defining parts to do for the F, this one is attached on the M part. And what I want to talk about, instead of editing these, is these controls, the offset here, and as well as these two, the flip Z-axis and the reorient secondary axis. And flip Z does this, reorient does this, and an offset does this. And when you combine an offset and rotation, you get something like this. Now I'm going quickly, I'll go back and go over it in detail. Now let me do the same thing again. Here, rotate, offset, what? Rotation does this. So I did the same thing and I got two different results, but I didn't actually do the same thing. If you noticed, I changed the order in which I picked my two mate connectors. So again, like last time, the order in which you pick things does matter, and that's not well explained anywhere, I don't think, in the tutorials and training. So I wanted to go over a bit of detail to what actually is going on, so hopefully that, so that you can hopefully learn how to predict what's going to happen. Because if you're anything like me, when I first started using Onshape, I was basically just using trial and error to figure out how to get the offset I wanted. So the key thing, there's really only one key thing to know, is that the offsets are going to be applied based on the first thing you pick, and they will be applied to the first thing you pick. And really what these offsets are, they define the relative position of the two mate connectors that you're picking. And then those mate connectors have their own relation to the parts that they're attached to, and that's where you edit the explicit mate connectors. You can change that, but this is the offset between the two, an orientation between those two mate connectors. So here I pick the M first, then I pick the F, so then that means that the Y direction on my M is pointing to the right, so if I do an offset, it will move right as you expect, and when I rotate it, it's rotating this mate connector relative to this one, so now the Y is pointing up, and the offset is still up in the Y direction. So now that should be pretty easy to understand. Where it gets messy is when you pick things the other way around. When you pick the fixed part first, basically. And the main reason for that is that it's still trying to offset the M, or rather it's trying to offset the F 100 millimeters in the plus Y direction, but because the F can't move, what it needs to do instead is move the M down. So really it's a frame of reference change. So if you look at no offset, you add the offset, really if you center yourself on the M, well, the F did move up in the Y direction. And same thing if you rotate, it looks like the M rotated, but really, if you were standing still on the M, you would see the F rotate around counterclockwise, just like the M did when the order was reversed. So, frame of reference, but it is a bit confusing. So my tip is, if you're mating a moving part to something fixed, or even something that's already properly constrained in your model, pick the new one first. And the best way to remember that is think of the pin slot mate, because it's written in the name. You pick the pin that moves in the slot that doesn't move, would be the normal way of doing it. So pick the moving part, pick the fixed one, and then the offsets will just follow what you're seeing. So X is down, so if I were to go in the negative X direction, the M should move up, and it does. So that's really the trick, and it comes down to, again, order matters. I think that's really all I wanted to say today. Oh, bonus tip, if you ever wondered what this is, if you hit OK here, it will create the mate, but keep the mate dialog open to add another one. But if you OK here, it will close the mate dialog. So if I do this, I get into another mate. But if I do this, I guess you only get it when you create a mate. But that's what that little floating dialog does, is it's for adding multiple mates in a row. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and that you can now get better at predicting what you have to type in to get the result you want. Till next time.